Listen, what if I told you we didn't actually invent the modern computer era? That instead we dug it out of the dirt in New Mexico back in 1947. Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking a highly detailed forensic audit that completely shatters our standard understanding of technological history. The source document we're looking at today lays out what it calls agnostic indictment. It details a mathematically impossible technological explosion that literally erupted right after the Roswell crash. So buckle up, because we're looking at a fast-paced, high-tech true crime story today, one that exposes a timeline anomaly so glaring it completely rewrites the origin of the modern world.
Look at how these dates stack up. In July 1947, something crashes in the dirt of Roswell, New Mexico, right? Then, just a few months later, in December 1947, the transistor is miraculously invented over at Bell Labs. Boom. Soon after that, we start seeing patents for poled barium titanate, and eventually the official patent for Nitinol, which is memory metal. The source text points directly to this sudden massive clustering of foundational computing inventions immediately following the 47 crash. They argue this is absolutely no coincidence. It represents a massive historical anomaly.
All right, let's get into Section 1, the 1947 Tech Anomaly.
Okay, let's dive into this, because we're framing the post-World War II tech boom not as this triumph of gradual human genius, but as a forensic mystery. You know the accepted historical narrative, right? It claims we had gradual, linear innovation driven by brilliant human minds. But the source's Gnostic indictment claims the exact opposite. It claims we're looking at sudden, completely inexplicable leaps fueled by recovered, highly advanced wreckage. The text argues that the military suddenly realized they were sitting on technology that rendered all previous engineering completely obsolete. But they had a huge problem. They couldn't just magically invent these highly advanced space-age materials inside a military base without raising major suspicion.
Which brings us to Section 2, the Corporate Laundering Protocol.
So this is where the story turns into a full-blown bureaucratic espionage thriller. The intelligence community desperately needed a way to study, reverse engineer, and manufacture this tech, but they had to hide it in plain sight. The text outlines a really structured laundering protocol to do exactly that. Step 1, the military recovers the wreckage from sites like Roswell. Step 2, they funnel that debris to unacknowledged private defense contractors. Step 3, scientists at these private corporations reverse engineer the futuristic tech and officially invent it in the commercial sector. And finally, Step 4, the military legally buys back the resulting commercial patents to use for their own black budget platforms. It's wild.
Now what's really interesting here are the receipts the source provides. The text explicitly links specific government agencies to these unacknowledged corporate contractors. For example, the Foreign Technology Division at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base allegedly acted as the logistics and storage hub. From there, the metallurgical debris was funneled to the Battelle Memorial Institute, and that led directly to the reverse engineering of Nitinol, that memory metal that you can crumple up and it just instantly snaps back to its original shape. Meanwhile, the electronics and optics hardware, that was pushed to places like Bell Labs and Westinghouse.
And the source brings the exact patent numbers to back this up. It's literally a rhythmic, undeniable paper trail. We've got U.S. patent 3174851A for nitinol. We've got U.S. patent 2420864A for barium titanate, which is a synthetic ceramic that was scaled up to build massive high-voltage capacitors for anti-gravity drives. Then there's U.S. patent 4087834A for light-activated switches. The text claims this was a fly-by-light optical system perfectly immune to electromagnetic pulses. The document even details how the fiber optic cables found in these advanced craft perfectly mirrored the emerging terrestrial tech.
So you might be wondering, how on earth do they keep this a secret from the public or even from Congress? Well, the source explains this brilliant, bureaucratic legal loophole. By legally transferring the ownership of the recovered non-human craft and metamaterials to private aerospace corporations, the Pentagon shields the whole operation behind corporate independent research and development protections. Because, think about it, a private corporation cannot be hit with a Freedom of Information Act request. That means the physical hardware is legally untouchable.
Let's move on to Section 3, the Extratempestrial model.
We really need to pivot now, because we've talked a lot about the hardware, but where exactly did this crash technology actually come from? Prepare for a massive paradigm shift. We're all pretty familiar with the extraterrestrial hypothesis, right? The idea that foreign visitors from distant star systems like Zeta Reticuli are visiting Earth. But the source introduces what it calls the Extratempestrial model. The claim here is that the ship that crashed at Roswell wasn't alien at all. It was a human time machine from our own future. The entities they recovered weren't Martians. The mathematical models cited in the text suggest they exhibit the exact predictable evolutionary trajectory of future humans.
The core thesis of this extratempestrial model is incredibly stark. It claims that the intelligence community isn't reverse engineering alien technology. Instead, they're locked in this terrifying temporal loop, continuously excavating the highly radioactive wreckage of their own timeline's catastrophic failures. Basically, they accidentally weaponize the fabric of time.
The document breaks down the complex physics of exactly how this supposedly happens. When early human prototypes, specifically these 1980s alien reproduction vehicles, spin superpressurized plasma at immense speeds, they actually drag the fabric of spacetime. If the mass reduction drive overvolts and suffers a catastrophic failure, this superdense rotation twists spacetime so severely that it generates what's called a closed time-like curve, meaning the craft literally slips outside of linear time and is violently ejected backwards into the historical record.
And this brilliantly illustrates how these temporal drops left a massive forensic wake throughout history. The text points to 1803 in Japan, where a craft washed ashore that matches exact 1988 military schematics. Then in 1897 in Aurora, Texas, a metallic cigar-shaped craft crashed into a windmill, dropping the exact memory metal that the Navy would patent 62 years later. And then, of course, there's 1947 Roswell, which served as the massive catalyst for our modern technological era.
So, how does the deep state actually track these historical crashes today? 24,100, that is the half-life, in years of plutonium-239. When a nuclear-powered vehicle from 1988 crashes in the 19th century, it leaks synthetic radioactive isotopes that simply should not mathematically exist in 19th century soil strata. The source claims that airborne sensors are constantly sweeping the globe looking for this exact isotopic receipt so they can deploy extraction teams to go dig up their own future hardware. Which brings us to our final part, Section 4, the Ontological Paradox.
Let's slow things down for a second, because the physical mechanics of time travel bring us to a really eerie philosophical reality. It's basically a mathematical nightmare for the intelligence community. You know, when dealing with time travel, people always ask about the grandfather paradox. If you change the past, do you alter the future? Well, the source relies on the Novikov self-consistency principle. This dictates that events in a closed time-like curve must be perfectly cyclical and completely paradox-free. The timeline is rigid. The military recovering an 1803 crashed vehicle didn't alter the timeline, it actually fulfilled it.
Let's see how this builds into an absolutely inescapable causality loop. Step 1. Following World War II, the US military uncovers an ancient, dirt-caked metallic anomaly. Step 2. They hand it over to Battelle to reverse engineer it. Step 3. In the 1980s, contractors build an exact, functioning replica based entirely on that ancient wreckage. Step 4. During a test flight, that replica suffers a drive failure and is hurled backward through time, literally becoming the very craft they found in Step 1.
This is the mind-bending reality of the Bootstrap paradox. According to the source's forensic audit, the original technology was never actually invented by anyone. The information, the physical matter itself, just exists in an infinite self-fulfilling loop. The US military basically stole the technology from their own dead pilots. The machine was built because it was found, and it was found because it was built.
Which leaves us staring at the screens in our hands right now, really having to ponder the ultimate implication of this temporal wreckage. If the transistor, fiber optics, and the very foundation of our entire digital age were reverse engineered from a time-traveling catastrophe, did we actually invent the modern world, or did we just steal it from our own crashed future? Definitely something to think about next time you look at the timeline of human innovation. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I'll see you next time.